When I was growing up, especially in the mid to late 1970s, I learned quickly how good the light heavyweight division was on the world scale. Not only the United States had a lot of top flight boxers, but Canada, Europe, Asia, South America, Central America. But this guy really stood out for me because he would take two punches to land three. He took some of the worst beatings ever for a light heavyweight champion and gave the worst as well. So today we're going to be talking about the legend of Matthew Franklin, also known or primarily known as Matthew Saad Muhammad. Born Maxwell Antonio Loach in Philadelphia, he was a pro boxer who was the WBC light heavyweight champion of the world for 2.5 years when that belt was considered the ring lineal championship. Saad Muhammad's mother died when he was an infant, and his elder brother was sent to live with an aunt. When he was 5, his aunt could not afford to look after both of them, and she instructed his brother to get rid of him. His brother took him to Philadelphia's Benjamin Franklin Parkway, and he ran away. Saad was found in the early hours asleep on the steps of the church. He was then taken in by the Catholic Social Services. The nuns gave him the name Matthew Franklin after the saint in the parkway where he was found. He lived in foster care, and a couple from Philadelphia adopted him, raised him, and took care of him like it was their own. Now, also known as Miracle Matthew, 5'11", one of the strongest orthodox light heavyweight champions ever. He had power in both hands. Now, Saad Muhammad was also a part of a group of world light heavyweight champions who became Muslims and changed their names during the glory era, the last glory era of light heavyweight. This included Eddie Gregory, who changed his name to Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, and Dwight Muhammad Kai, who was born as Dwight Braxton. Saad Muhammad confirmed this in interviews following his boxing career, stating he was inspired to convert by Muhammad Ali's conversion. Now, Saad Muhammad had a relatively short amateur career, consisting of only 20 amateur bouts. He won the Trenton, New Jersey Golden Glove in 1973 and turned pro the following year. Now, when he began the box professionally in 1974, he won his first fight with a second round knockout against Billy Early. He posted 7 more wins that year before he's suffering his first loss in the hands of Wayne McGee by decision in 6 rounds. In 1975, after 2 wins, he and McGee fought again in a 6-round draw. Now, in 1976, he had a lot of world prominence when he had 2 matches each with future world champions Marvin Carmel and Matty Parlov. His first fight with Parlov in Milan, Italy, was also his first fight abroad. He bet Parlov in an 8-round decision. He then bet Camel in a 10-round decision, but lost a rematch, also a 10-rounder. He returned to Italy for a rematch with Parlov, which resulted in a 10-round draw. Now, Saad Muhammad began 1977 by losing to Gregory, Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, but then defeated the future 3-time world champion Marvin Johnson by a knockout in round 12 for the United States light heavyweight title in his first nationally televised match. In 1978, he won all 4 of his bouts, including successful defenses of the title against former world title challenger Richie Cates and against 4-time world title challenger Yaki Lopez. The Lopez fight, their first of 2, was considered a classic by boxing experts. Saad Muhammad survived a relentless attack by Lopez to score an 11-round knockout. Now, in 1979, after Johnson became world champion by defeating Parlov, he and Saad Muhammad would be met again on April 22nd in Johnson's hometown of Indianapolis for the world light heavyweight crown, the WBC belt. In a fight considered by many experts as Saad Muhammad Classic, and was subsequently featured featured heavily on ESPN's Classic Fight Show. Saad Muhammad won with an 8-round knockout after staggering Johnson towards the end of the 7th round. Shortly afterwards, he converted to Islam and changed his name to Matthew Saad Muhammad. Now, his first title offense, he took on former world champion John Conteth in Atlantic City. He retained the world title with a 15-round decision. Decision, however, was voided and a match reordered because Muhammad's cornerman used an illegal substance to stop the bleeding from a cut. Muhammad retained the crown with a knockout in round 4 of his second bout. After defeating Luzli Pergo, he and Lopez met again, this time with a world title on the line. The rematch was also shown by ESPN's Classic Network several times, as it was the fight of the year for 1980 according to Ring, and still written about by boxing aficionados. Saad Muhammad was hit with 20 unanswered blows in round 8, but he recovered and dropped Lopez 5 times en route to a 14-round knockout win. This was my toughest fight, he said after the match, which some consider the closest Lopez ever came to a world title. He then wanted to defeat Ladi Moali, Vonzel Johnson, future World super middleweight champion Murdo Sutherland of Canada and Jerry Martin, all in defense of his world title, before losing to Braxton, Dwight Muhammad Kai, in December 81. In yet another fight that will later be shown on ESPN's Classic Network, Saad Muhammad lost his title when Kai knocked him out in 10 rounds. Now, Saad Muhammad entered 82 with a rematch against Kai within his sights and defeated Pete McIntyre by knockout in round 2. The rematch between Saad Muhammad and Kai came off in August at Saad Muhammad's hometown of Philadelphia. The second time around, Kai won by knockout in round 6. From there on until 92, he fought sporadically and with limited success and never had a big match with Eddie Gregory. He had confronting vision problems, and in 86 he declared himself in bankruptcy. After he lost his rematch to Kai, he fought in Australia, Spain, the Bahamas, and Trinidad and Tobago. Now, Saad Muhammad also took a turn in the forerunner of mixed martial arts in Japan, participating in the first UWF event in 91. Match against Kiyoshi Tamura, Saad Muhammad talked a great deal at the lead-in press conference. He declined to say in which round he knocked Tamura out, but guaranteed a victory. Tamura submitted Saad Muhammad 34 seconds into the first round. Now, when he retired from pro boxing, it was a record of 39, 16-3 with 29 by knockout. In 98, he became a distinguished member of the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Now, Muhammad trained up in upcoming fighters Atlantic City, New Jersey, and worked closely with former Indian Olympic boxing team heavyweight Gurshadhan the Guru Singh. Now, unfortunately, had a hard time in retirement. In July 2010, Saad Muhammad was homeless and living in a shelter in Philadelphia. He later became involved in charity work in the Philly area, some of which focused on raising money for the homeless. He unfortunately passed away in a hospital in Philly on May 25, 2014. His cause of death was unknown, though he was diagnosed with late-stage ALS. Now, Muhammad was well respected by Ring Magazine, as he ranks as the 24th of the 100 greatest punchers of all time. So, 39 victories, 29 by knockout, 10 by decision, 8 losses by knockout, and 8 losses by decision with 3 draws. Now, he lost the last 3 fights of his career, one in Virginia, one in Washington, and another one in Virginia, but he lost 6 of his last 7 contests. Now, his last major title fight was in 84, where he lost to Willie Edwards via TKO 11 for the NABF light heavyweight title. And, of course, he lost twice to Kai. Big victories, of course. Jerry Martin, Murray Sutherland, Vonzel Johnson, Lonnie Moali, Yaquib Lopez, Lure Pagol, the 2 fights against John Conteth, win against Marvin Johnson and Yaqui Lopez. Now, he won again the NABF title in 1977 against Billy Douglas, and also had that fight with Marvin Johnson. So, ladies and gentlemen, his career in boxing is well respected because, again, you look at the light heavyweights of that era. You had Rossman, you had Galindez, Johnson, Gregory, Franklin, Yaqui Lopez, Moali, everybody else, James Scott, the criminal Rawi. It was a great time. And there's a classic Ring Magazine cover. I'm going to show it to you. Probably one of the most important boxing photos of all time. He's sort of in his gear, and he looks like a golden god, he was quite a bit in shape. Matthew Franklin, I knew him as Matthew Franklin. I knew him Matthew Saad Muhammad. You should have put a disclaimer on the front of his matches, may contain violence, because he used to take 30 punches to hit 40. Man, some of the blows he took, I'm surprised it wasn't worse for him when he got older, but ALS is bad enough. So I consider Matthew Saad Muhammad a top 30 fighter of the 1970s into the 80s. If you have any thoughts on that, please let us know. And I think we're going to name our boxing podcast today Inside the Ropes. So our boxing podcast will now go under a new category called Inside the Ropes. And I don't know if anybody's used that before, but I want to talk about what happens inside the ropes. We know sometimes with the criminal element or whatever outside the ropes, but let's talk about what happens inside the ropes. And I'm dedicating that column name to my good friend, the former world flyweight champion, Scotty Bulldog Olson, because inside the ropes, he had a long time battle with his nemesis Michael Carbajal, which stopped him for the Olympic title and stopped him for a world title. So, but inside the ropes, nothing can be hidden, as we say. Have a good one. And don't forget, As we say in the North Shore, and what Yvonne Durrell once told me, keep punching. Have a good one.